somewhere in Concord, North Carolina, there's a room with no windows and a screen the size of a movie theater. No fans, no engines, no sunlight. Just a wall of video, 32 feet wide, tracking every single car on every single lap. And it might be deciding the outcome of your favorite driver's season right now. This is the room NASCAR doesn't want to be the headline. Today, we're making it one. NASCAR has a facility called Remote Race Control based in Concord, North Carolina. It's been fully up and running since last year. The centerpiece is a video wall, 32 feet wide, 9 feet tall, split into 24 separate viewing zones. Broadcast feeds, in-car cameras, specialty angles, team radios, live telemetry, all of it all at once. The man running point on this operation is Scott Miller, NASCAR's competition strategist and former VP of competition. He's not at the racetrack. He's in that windowless room, watching everything unfold from a distance and feeding real-time support to the officials who are trackside making the actual calls. For decades, NASCAR officiating meant one thing: eyes at the track, in the tower, making split-second calls with whatever camera angles happen to be available in that moment. High pressure, limited information, no time to double-check. That era is over. Scott Miller used to be one of those tower officials himself. He lived the chaos in real time. Now he's had to completely rewire how he processes a race, trading the adrenaline of trackside decision-making for a technology-packed command center where he can pause, rewind, and dig into a controversial call without the clock breathing down his neck. That shift matters because NASCAR isn't a stick-and-ball sport with a fixed field. This is a 36 race calendar spanning ovals, road courses, and street circuits, dozens of layouts, dozens of camera challenges, and a field of competitors that never actually stops moving while a review is happening. Unlike football, where the play is dead the second a flag goes up, a NASCAR incident is still evolving even as officials are trying to make sense of it. That's the environment Remote Race Control was built to survive. Let's get into what actually makes this significant, because on the surface, this sounds like a tech upgrade. It's more than that. It's a philosophical shift in how NASCAR enforces its own rulebook. Miller drew a direct comparison to the NFL's Officiating Command Center in New York, which reviews every scoring play, turnover, and coach's challenge from a centralized hub. On paper, similar concept. In practice, wildly different problem to solve. The NFL is working with a fixed 100-yard field every single week with a standardized camera package built for that exact geometry. Consistency is baked in before the ball is even snapped. NASCAR has no such luxury. Every venue is a new puzzle. Different length, different banking, different sight lines, different blind spots. Camera coverage that works flawlessly at a short track can leave gaps at a super speedway. That means NASCAR's Remote Race Control isn't just monitoring races, it's essentially solving a new visibility problem every single week of the season. Here's the strategic upside: more angles, more data, less chance of a blown call slipping through because trackside officials simply couldn't see it. Better protection for competitive integrity, better documentation when a penalty gets challenged. But there's a risk worth naming honestly. The more information a sport puts in front of officials, the higher the expectation becomes that every call gets it right. Fans and teams won't excuse a missed penalty as easily once they know a room exists specifically to catch it. Remote Race Control raises the bar NASCAR has to clear and raises the scrutiny the moment it doesn't. Miller himself seems to understand this tension. He's been explicit that the goal isn't to overrule the track, but to support it, staying, in his words, invisible and letting the at-track officials remain the authority in the moment. That's a smart positioning move. The moment a remote command center starts publicly overturning trackside decisions, you risk a credibility fight nobody in the sport wants. Is this smart or risky? Both. It's smart because it closes information gaps that used to cost NASCAR credibility for years. It's risky because once a system this thorough exists, there is no more room for an excusable mistake. Split reaction, and it's easy to see why. One side of the fan base is going to love this. NASCAR has taken heat for years over inconsistent penalty calls and controversial no calls that change races and championship outcomes. The dedicated command center with full telemetry and multi-camera access is exactly the kind of accountability many fans have been demanding. The other side is going to be more skeptical. More technology sometimes means more delay, more second guessing, and more debate over whether NASCAR is overcorrecting into a slow, review-heavy product instead of the fast, gut instinct sport it built its identity on. Media reaction will likely frame this as a maturity moment for NASCAR, proof the sanctioning body is finally matching the officiating infrastructure of leagues like the NFL and NBA. But expect pointed questions the next time a high-profile no-call happens. If this room exists, how did that get missed? Best case scenario, remote race control becomes the quiet backbone of NASCAR officiating, catching violations. Trackside cameras would have missed speeding up review accuracy and slowly rebuilding trust with a fan base that's been burned by inconsistent penalty calls in the past. Within a couple seasons, nobody's talking about it because it's just working. Worst case scenario, a marquee moment, a championship race, a late race incident gets a call that still feels wrong despite all this technology, and it becomes a bigger story than if the room never existed at all. When you build a system this sophisticated, we did our best, stops being an acceptable answer to fans. So here's the real question. Does more technology and officiating actually make NASCAR fair, or does it just raise the stakes for the next controversial call? Drop your take in the comments. Are you team more oversight, less controversy, or do you think NASCAR is one blown call away from a credibility crisis it can't walk back? If this breakdown gave you something to think about, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, because we're not done digging into the stories actually shaping this sport.